take a look at this video. This is falcons. These are birds. Of course, we call them hawks. But guess what? Those hawks you see in your village that come to carry chicken, do you know that these birds are the most expensive birds ever sold in the world? As a matter of fact, the most expensive one ever sold in Saudi with a record price, it was actually bought by an American in Saudi. Just one of these birds was sold for the sum of $466,000. One of these birds, $466,000. Just take your time and go and use your calculator to calculate how much that means. Now I'm going to tell you some facts that you need to know about this bird and why the Prince of Saudi have to spend money to fly them inside this aircraft. In fact, there are about 80 of them inside this airplane. This man wanted to travel and he needed these birds to travel with him in a very secured way. See, there are so many facts you need to know. The basic price for this bird in Saudi Arabia right now, in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia, the basic price for this bird in these countries, in this country, is actually around $45,000, $50-something, depending on the kind of training you've given to the bird. As a matter of fact, they often do auctioning, because I will tell you why it's actually this expensive. Now, why is this so expensive? Why is this such important bird in Saudi, in the Middle East? Number one is this: the falcon, which we call the hawk, is the same bird that is known as the national bird for UAE. And there is a tradition they use this bird to perform. That tradition is known as, today they call it sports. They call it falconry. If you watch some of these pictures surrounding this video, you see the Putin, the president of Russia, one of the birds, like he's trying to perform that falconry. One of the birds is perching on his hands. There is no place you see the Prince of Saudi Arabia that you will not see a falcon there. There must be somebody, one of his aides, standing by holding the bird on his hand. See, it is only we that does not know the value of most of these animals that are around us, and that is why we take them for granted. That's why all we do is to hunt them and eat. Most of these birds you see like this are worth more than even some people's entire generation in this world. Most of these animals, if this bird, one of these birds, can be worth for something $1,000, and that one has ever been sold for a record price of $466,000, a single bird, then imagine why the prince should fly 80 of it inside this aircraft. He decided to travel. According to reports, it says that Qatar Airways and some other airlines within the Middle East, they permit only 6 of these birds inside the aircraft. In fact, as a matter of fact, they said it is not sold. These 6 seats are not sold until they are sure that it is almost time for the aircraft to leave and there are nobody coming with these birds to book seats before they will sell it out. So why would the prince make passports for these birds, 80 of them? As according to this report, on the day he made this travel in 2017, he actually had to book the entire seats inside the aircraft because he had to breach the proper arrangement, which was just 6 in an aircraft. He said he wanted all of them to travel safely without having to scatter them into different aircraft. So he wanted them to travel once and safely. So he had to book the entire aircraft, that is, charter an aircraft to fly with them. Where was he going with them? He was going to just perform the sport. Just a game. Just the same way we fly Super Eagles. The same way. That was the same way he flew these birds. And guess what? You all remember that we have our female players. We call them the Super Falcons. Our female senior player, we call them Super Falcons. The same way we call our our male senior players the Super Eagles. That is exactly how important they regard these birds. And in fact, you know that this is exactly where we derive our name from. The falcon, that bird, is where we derive our name. So it's not an ordinary bird. It's a very, very good hunter. That falconry is actually known as using these birds to do hunting. If you remember back then in the village when we were growing up, our parents, for those of you who actually grew up in the village, our parents would always tell us that watch out for the chickens that she's leaving at home. Because of what? Falcons, because of hawks. These birds, if they want to dive to go for a hunt, the speed they use to dive is, I don't know whether it is calculated, but if you are watching and you are not very, very vigilant, they will come down, pick a bird right before your feet, and they will leave with the bird, and you will not know. For example, if they are coming to pick a chicken that is right before your front, they don't fear people, they don't fear anybody. They will dive down with a very incredible speed that you might not even notice them. They will come, pick the bird and leave. And if they've landed on any bird, even if it is the mother chicken, the mother hen, or the baby, they don't live without the bird. No matter how you threaten them, they will not live without the bird. So these are well-known birds that are very good with their craft, which is hunting, and that's why they don't joke with it here. If you go to all these countries and they see you, they hunt this, mistakenly say you see this bird, you can't they throw stone. Just call your family before they pick you up. Call your family, tell them goodbye, say they're not going to see you again. That is how important these birds are to these people. So when you see the prince flying them in this aircraft, you say these Oyibo people like to waste money. Now we don't know the value of things, some things. That's why we regard most of what they do as waste of money or waste of time. But they all often see value in many things that we don't see values in.